This is a tutorial for making Hmong egg rolls. First, you will need a pack of egg roll wraps, and this is the brand that I use. You're also going to need ground meat, and this could be pork, chicken, beef, turkey, whichever you prefer. Today, I'm going to use pork. The next thing you need is a bag of glass noodles. This is the brand that I usually get. Then you're going to need about 2 cups of shredded carrots. You will also need 1 whole white onion. Chop it to about this size. And I like cilantro in my egg rolls, so I'm going to add about 1 cup of chopped cilantro. You don't have to if you don't like the taste of cilantro. I'm also going to add about 1 cup of chopped green onions because I like the taste of it, but that's just my preference, so if you don't like the taste, you don't have to add it in yours. For the amount of egg rolls that we're making today, you will need about 2 eggs for your egg roll mixture. Then you will need to crack 1 more egg and only use the yolk because we are going to use this to seal the egg roll wrap. To season the egg rolls, you will need fish sauce, and this is the brand that I use. There's no measurements because you only add it until you get your desired taste. And finally, you will need salt and black pepper. Again, no measurements because you just add it to your desired taste. Let's get started. You're going to need half of the glass noodles that's in this bag for the amount of serving that we're making, and you want to soak these noodles in cold water. While the noodles are soaking, we're going to start our egg roll mix. And to do this, we're just going to add all the ingredients together, minus the seasonings. With the seasoning, you want to be careful to not make your mixture too salty, so it's always better to just start out a little bit, and then if you need to add more, you just add it. So to start out with the fish sauce, I'm going to add about half a cup. Then I'm going to add black pepper. And for black pepper, I'm not going to measure it. Instead, I'm just going to evenly sprinkle it around the mixture so it looks like it's about even with all of the other ingredients. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Now that we have all of the ingredients in this bowl, minus the glass noodles, we're going to start mixing. And to do that, we're going to use our hands and mush and squeeze all of the ingredients together until they're evenly mixed. If you do decide to add cabbage to your mix, you can either buy the shredded bags at your local grocery store or you can cut your own. To cut your own, you're going to need to buy 1 whole cabbage and then cut it in half. And then you're just going to thinly slice it so you get very fine shreds, like so. After you're done cutting the shredded cabbage, just throw that into your egg roll mix. And by now, your glass noodles should be ready. You can test to make sure by pinching the glass noodles with your fingers. And if they break, that means they're ready to go. Now drain the water and prep it for cutting. To cut the glass noodles, you're going to need a pair of scissors. To cut the glass noodles, just grab a handful and snip away. Just pretend you're giving someone a really ugly haircut. The length of the noodles don't have to be perfect. I usually cut mine into 1 to 2 inches. After you finish cutting all of the glass noodles, throw them into your egg roll mix. To mix together, just use your hands, mush and squeeze like you did earlier until everything is evenly mixed together. When you're done mixing, your batch should look like this. Not too dry, not too soggy, just perfectly moist. I know this sounds really gross, but if you want to know if your egg rolls are going to turn out good or not, this is the time to taste your batch to see if it's too salty, if it's not salty enough, what else you need. To do that, you're just going to take a strand of the glass noodle and just lick a little bit of it. That way you get an idea of how salty your batch is. But if you're feeling pretty confident that your egg rolls are going to turn out perfect, no taste test required. If the wraps haven't thawed, throw them in the microwave between 30 seconds to a minute. They should be easy to peel, like so. I'm pretty quick at wrapping egg rolls, so I like to peel all of my wraps and set them in a pile. If you're still new at this, or if you don't consider yourself a novice wrapper, I recommend you only peeling and wrapping as you go. That way the wraps don't dry out. And now we are ready to wrap. I should also mention that at this time, it would be a good idea to get your oil ready. Get a medium-sized pot and fill it up to half with oil, whichever you prefer. However, I don't recommend olive oil because it doesn't deep fry well. Set the temperature to medium, so when you finish wrapping your first batch of egg rolls, you can start deep frying right away. Use a fork and grab about this much of your egg roll mix and place it on your egg roll wrap. Like I'm showing you right now, you want to place your egg roll wrap like a diamond in front of you, and you want to put the mix in the corner that's closest to you, about 2 inches from the corner. The first step is to make sure that your corner is tucked underneath your mix. Make sure it's very tight. Otherwise, if you start deep frying, some of the mix will start coming out of the corners and it's not going to look very pretty. After that, roll it one more time to secure it in place. Now we're going to start to wrap in the side, and this part is a little bit tricky, so make sure you watch closely. As you can see, the triangle that I created lines up with the original shape of the egg roll wrap. And you want to repeat the same step on the opposite side. And this is how it should look like with the two sides folded in. The next step is to fold in the two corners that you just created so they meet in the middle, creating a sharp triangle at the very top. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to roll it all the way to the top. But while you're doing that, you're going to use a roll, pull, tug method. Just watch what I'm doing here so you can see what I mean. As you roll, you kind of want to pull it back a little bit just to tuck it. That way you're making sure that the egg roll is as tight as it can be. And at the end, you will have a triangle, and that is where you're going to put the egg yolk that we saved from earlier. And then we're just going to roll it all the way around so that way it seals it, and when you deep fry it, it stays in place. And that's how it looks after it's all wrapped. Set the wrapped egg roll aside, and we start all over again until we're finished wrapping all of the egg rolls. And again, making sure that your egg roll mix is about 2 inches from the corner of the wrap that's closest to you. And here I'm just going to show you from a different angle of how it's going to look like to fold in the side. You can use your index finger as guidance to fold in your corner. Using your index finger will also pinch in the egg roll mix, so that way when you fold in the corner, all of your sides line up. Also, just showing you another method. You don't have to fold in the other side right away. You can decide to finish up that first side and then do the same thing to the other side. You can choose whichever one you're more comfortable with. From here, it's the same step as I showed you previously. Make sure that both of your sides meet up in the center, and then just roll, pull, and tuck as you're rolling it up to make sure that it's as tight as possible, and then sealing the top triangle with the egg yolk. And roll it off to seal everything together in place, and on to the next egg roll. And here I'm just going to show you a close-up of how the egg roll looks like after it's tightly wrapped. All the different angles. And this is the reason why I like to wrap my egg rolls the way I do, because I like it when the sides look like that. When it's very tightly tucked like that, it makes the egg roll very, very crispy and super tasty. Here I'm just going to show you how the egg rolls look like in the pot. You want to make sure that the egg rolls are completely submerged in the oil, so that way they get evenly cooked. Depending on the temperature of your stove, it can take anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes for the egg rolls to finish cooking. But just look at your egg rolls, and when they look like this, like a very golden brown, that means that they're ready to be taken out. I like to place my cooked egg rolls standing like this to drain as much oil as possible. And that's how you make Hmong egg rolls. Happy eating!